else. Let's make sure we address the game first and foremost at the end if we want to hit on some of the stuff that went on this week. But we got to make sure that we really talk about what these guys have done and what these guys went out there and did tonight. And it wasn't just the defense. Coming out of the gate, we had a plan, and it's we went with Danny O'Neal, but we also we have been getting Carter Smith ready, and this was just basically in the last week and a half. We just felt like as we were moving forward, that was kind of, hey, if we're going to try to do the things that these guys do best, let's make sure that we give them opportunities. And to be honest with you, for the last 2 weeks, we've repped 3 quarterbacks for the most part, and everybody just had to be ready. And so that's what you end up seeing tonight. I think on the 9th play, Danny goes down, and Carter steps in, and right there before half, Hunter goes in, and it's going to be a collective group in a lot of the things that we do. But I thought they really handled it well. They took care of the football amidst these conditions. And then what can you say about the defense? I mean, that was that's a good offense now. That quarterback, he has been dynamic, and he has made them, I think, who they are this entire year. And you've seen them grow through the year, both offensively and defensively, but I credit it to him. And our guys did a great job out there tonight. They did a great job of keeping him, under the wraps as far as running the football, but also, not giving him the open windows and the clear windows. And I think we're really disciplined in what they did. And it's, it feels really good. Let's just say that. And you guys all know what I mean by that. It's, in this game, you don't always get what you think you deserve. And I would sit here and tell you that, like I said, week in and week out, that these guys deserve something because they continue to battle and they continue to fight. And we all know that you get what you deserve. And sometimes you just got to go earn it. And they did an incredible job of earning it tonight. And I would also say that it was great to have a crowd that made a difference too. I really do think that, in particular in the second half, in particular as they were backed up, coming out of obviously where the student section is, they had a factor. And I know for myself as well that it was enjoyable, and it was really great to see. And I appreciate them, and I thank them for that.
Luke, Barry Alvarez always used to say winning is good for the soul. And I know you kind of touched that in your opening statement, but can you take us a little deeper?
It's great for the soul. I mean, it's sometimes you forget. To be honest with you, I did forget a little bit of what it was like to have that emotion and to see our guys with that emotion. That's what I kind of talk about. Like, this is a tough game, and you work at it incredibly, incredibly hard, no matter what the results are. But to have that ability to kind of have that emotion, and not just for me. I mean, that's one thing, right? I mean, I try to not to give it too much and have too much of it, but I'd much rather see it from our guys. And it is really good, not just for the soul, it's good for the team, and it's good for everybody.
Luke, looking at defense quickly, you mentioned containing Devin Williams rushing. It seemed like you guys were, getting at least one guy kind of hard charging at him, and they had somebody in the contain. What was the game plan to keep him at least in check?
We didn't want to give him all simple, as much as we could, simple reads. He's too good. And so sometimes it's just the idea. I think maybe the first play of the game, he had we got a shot on him. They handed the ball off or whatever. They threw the ball. But just the ability to change some things up on, because he's too good to allow him to kind of dictate the what he's going to do based on reading guys that are sitting on the edges. So we tried to do a really good job, but I give our guys credit. There's some discipline involved in that, because it's not just, hey, you get a free run to the quarterback. And same thing in the back end. We tried to be able to more so on third down change some things up on him, because he really is too good to just be able to sit there and think you're going to either play man or you're going to play zone. We had to, and knew going into this game, we had to do a lot of different things.
Luke, we've talked about these two a good amount these last couple of months, but Cooper Catalano, 19 tackles, Bosa, I think 2.5 sacks, obviously kind of the final nail in the coffin. Just what can you say about those two young freshmen?
That's pretty impressive. To be honest, I think you might forgot that Bosa, I think, had a fumble, caused fumble and a recovered fumble. You know what? They're just doing a great job. They're playing the game the way the game's supposed to be played. I think they have that energy. They bring that energy. They have a communication side to them too. That just there's some natural. I don't want to say alpha, but there's some natural things that you don't teach. And sometimes you don't know that. Sometimes you don't even know what you have until you get them out there. And obviously last week being their first week, I kind of was going into this week thinking, okay, now there's a little more weight on their shoulders. How are they going to handle and respond to maybe some people having a little bit of an expectation on them, as opposed to last week? It's, hey, it's their first opportunity. Hey, go play the game. And they've done nothing but continue to step up. The last play, I think 4th down, I think was Posa making the play, and I'm not sure how fast he really is, but I know when the ball snapped, I think he plays a little bit faster.
Luke, given the circumstances and the fact that this was Carter's first college action, what did you think of what he gave you guys tonight?
He gave us a chance. He gave us hope. I think that's probably the biggest thing. And it's twofold, right? I mean, just sometimes new person, new guy, new blood. Just think about the first time he walked out there on the field. Like, for me, for us, when Danny goes down after 9 plays and playing pretty decent, I mean, running the ball and doing the things we want him to do, and now all of a sudden you trot out a true freshman, even the reaction of the crowd, even a little bit of energy, like those things are contagious. And we all know he wasn't perfect, and we all know that, there are some things that you may be a little bit more limited to. But he brought you some fire, he brought you some spark, he brought you some hope. And most importantly for me, he took care of the football.
2 questions. First of all, more game
Does
related.
he get to? Okay. You've been here every week, you get to.
More game related, that moment as fans are storming the field, what was going through your mind with that? And
Well, as they tugged on my, like they're trying to protect me, I'm like, I'm good. I'm not going to run into anybody, and B, I'm not going to maybe recognize a face that wasn't quite having that same opinion, a little while ago. It's that same emotion. I think that's the thing that you work so hard for, and it's even better to see than to have it yourself, to be honest with you. And I know for our fans, I mean, they want nothing more than what we want. They might not have to work every single day, but they work in their own ways, and to see their excitement too is pretty special.
And then, since I get a second, with the news that Mac, made this week, what does that do for this team to have that communicated at this point in the season?
Well, let's finish up, on the game most importantly, and then let's address that, because I think that is something that we're not going to walk out of here without making sure we talk about. But I want to let's finish up on any questions guys have about the game and about the guys that obviously performed out there. So you do get your second question. Let's come back to it.
I would say Ben Barton's stepped up this, especially this season he had a sack against Oregon and then that blocked field. Just what has he meant to this defense and this team?
Not to mention the short yardage situations. I think he maybe has made 3 or 4. They might not go down. Cooper Catalano might get the credit for the tackle, but I'm going to tell you that Ben Barton is a big part of that. And there's nobody that's been more consistent. And I think maybe I said it earlier in the week, I don't know if you're going to see things like that as much in college football. A guy that's in his 6th year that, when he tells me his story about not being able to play a lick his first 3 years here, changing positions from offense to defense, which doesn't normally happen, he says it. He goes, I was a really bad football player. And to see where he was last year and where he is this year, he's got a chance to continue to play this game of football. And he gives us everything he's got every single day. And I don't know where we'd be without him. He's not a real vocal guy sometimes, but he's a guy that people listen to and they look to.
Just first, if there's any early word on O'Neal, what his situation is.
You know what? I have not got an official on him.
And also just how the special teams had a really rough start in the way they responded in the second half, putting them in bad field position situations there.
Well, the special teams on me, the block punt is uncalled for. That can't happen. I mean, that's you don't normally win football games when you get punts blocked. So maybe we had to balance it out with a fake punt to try to even that thing out a little bit. We missed a field goal early on. That's what I mean by the resiliency of things. Like, right, we've had these things happen to us. We've had, things the entire year where guys go down, and we talked about before the game. We talked about it, at the beginning of the week about not flinching. And there's a lot of things to flinch over as we've been through the last few weeks or months. There was a lot of things to flinch at tonight too, whether it's, Danny going down the ninth play, getting a punt block, giving the ball on the 1 yard line, missing a field goal. And give our guys credit. They did not flinch. They kept fighting. They kept playing. And that's what you got to be most proud of. At least I do.
I know you've spoken about Gideon before, but I know he obviously had that penalty. But
Again.
73, he gave you another quality running performance. And I kind of want to get your thoughts on any first impressions, kind of what stood out to you. I think he has about 73 yards.
76, I think here, maybe net of 73. Yeah, he you know what? He battled, and it was kind of a similar thing. There's a freshman guy last week got thrown in the mix and did a good job, right? Or 2 weeks ago. But it was one of those things where, okay, when you just get thrown in the mix, sometimes there's not a whole lot of pressure on you, right? Being the sixth man coming in off the bench. And all of a sudden you went into a week where all of a sudden you're the guy carrying the load, and that's where you are curious. I've been curious about these young guys to say there's a lot more on their plates as they come out this week, whether it was Cooper and Posa, Gideon. There's a lot more on their plates when all of a sudden guys are looking at you and expecting you to be the guy to carry the load. And he took care of the football again. He runs hard. He's done an unbelievable job. We've got to get some of these discipline things that's 2 weeks in a row on a late penalty that to me is out of characteristic of him, but I'm proud of him. I think he's got a bright future.
Luke, you mentioned repping three quarterbacks throughout the past couple of weeks, and it seemed like from the TV broadcast that Danny had indicated that he didn't come into the game 100%. Just what was the balance of what you could get out of him versus
Danny took most of the reps the last 2 weeks. We had just started getting Carter reps just last week during the bye week. Just said, hey, we would have to give him an opportunity because we don't know what it's going to look like, and we've had guys that are dinged up, and we're just trying to figure out as you grow, what do you kind of focus yourself around and building right offensively. And for a bunch of these weeks we've been maybe hoping and expecting to get Billy back, and so you kept kind of pushing the offense in that direction, and I don't know that that's the case, so we kind of tried to shift to say, okay, how do we build this thing and continue to move forward based on what we've got. So yes, they all three got reps. Danny had been okay. He kind of tweaked a little bit maybe on Tuesday or Wednesday. But Phil still felt like he was good to go, and he was going to be able to carry the load. He just had to have a preparation just in case, always.
Look, I know the staff was honoring the veterans today, but on social media there was a little bit of some people talking about no vest, or say no team vest today for you, and just wondering if that's a one-game thing or is it done for good?
It might be now. I don't know. It was underneath, but I decided to do the military appreciation sweatshirt. I don't know. As we've been battling through these last 6-7 weeks, that's not one of those things that's probably been on my mind. And sometimes I think maybe we just need to change some things up a little bit. And so I'd say more about the military appreciation. It was great to see our guys carrying out those flags and things. Just a great reminder for us, right? I mean, we play this game. We get an opportunity to play this game because of what they have done for us and given us these opportunities. And I know my dad is a Vietnam vet, and that's something that's special to me. All right, so go ahead.
So with Mac delivering this week, how does that?
Well, I guess let me just start off by saying I have an incredible appreciation and respect for Chris McIntosh and what he has had to do. There's mixed emotions on my part, to be honest with you. I don't ever want somebody to have to fight my battles, but I understand that that's where we are. And I can't say thank you enough to Chris for fighting the battle that he's fighting, and for Chancellor Mnookin to listen and believe. And yes, there is a, not to say a relief, there is a spark, an energy, a hope, a vision that this week gave us. And I can't say that I'm speaking for the guys, because even when Mac spoke to the guys and kind of told them before it came out publicly, It was it wasn't like a whole emotional thing after practice on, I think it was Thursday. It wasn't like there was this roar or anything like that. And I just reminded him that our kids, they feel everything, they know everything, they internalize everything. I'm not sure how they felt or what, like they were going to jump up for joy, but I knew deep down inside it meant something to them. And I'm not speaking for them, but I know that they're committed to what it is that we're doing. They're committed to each other, and they're committed to a journey that has been disappointing, right? I mean, I'm not here to tell you that this is the expectation, to win one game and to expect the people or our fans to rush the field. I mean, there's a greater expectation. That's why I came here. That's why these guys came here. But at times, you've got to know that people have your back. And for me and for them, I can't say thank you enough. Obviously, not just to Chris, but to Chancellor Mnuchin, the board, and everybody that recognizes and understands that, like, we're not accepting this, but we understand that we got to move forward. But this is how we want to do it. And so I'm happy. That's for sure.